Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thank you so much for checking us out. As always, you know what to do. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited to once again be talking with David Duchovny, this time for real about the new record, Gesturland. Hi, David.
Hi. Yes, for real. We talked about it in the abstract last time, didn't we?
That's right. You just
Yeah.
released the single "Laying on the Tracks" during
Right.
that election season that seems sort of like a million years ago and not so long ago at all. It's
Amazing. I think time has officially changed its nature in the
mhm.
last few years. So I think somebody has to call Einstein and figure it out.
Right. It's a new equation.
Yeah.
That's true. But of course, in that conversation, we were talking about this record that you'd been working on called Gesturland. It's here now. I'm such a fan of so many of the songs on this
Thank you.
record right here. Let's start out with the newest single too, because you get this one out here with Nights Are Harder. Nights Are Harder These Days. I don't know if you did the whole
Yeah.
thing right there. Just
Yeah.
this massive guitar sound. Like when I first heard it, I was like, oh, there's some Neil Young stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just I wrote that song, and then I didn't write that riff, which I love. And Pat McCusker and I, the guitarist in the band, we were just talking about touchstones for the sound, and I was like Neil Young and Crazy Horse and Zuma and like Cortez the Killer is one of my favorite songs of all time. Nothing like Nights Are Harder, but that kind of just a guitar,
Mhm.
just that kind of muddy, fuzzy guitar. And then he came up with that riff, and I was like, yeah, let's just pin the song on that, and let's just drive it forward.
Yeah, no, you definitely that sound was nailed. In fact, after I got done listening to the record, I had to immediately put on a Neil Young record. I put on Mirror Ball and just played that one all the way through. Like,
Yeah, like you know, You Are Like a Hurricane, or
uh-huh.
Cinnamon Girl. Even just these classic earworm type riffs that Neil Young was doing back in the '70s, and you know, I'm really interested in those riffs, like "Start Me Up" or whatever. Just like I love like riffology. I'd love to like go to a course. I'd like to learn a course. Like, what is it about certain riffs that are just get in there? And certainly, I don't know how to do them, or I haven't written them, but Pat's come up with a couple that I really like, and that's one of them.
It's the time where the guitar really gets to take over the melody parts. Like, I talked to some guitarists who, of course, been at it for decades, and where in their younger days that seemed to be the thing. They were all about the riffs, and for some reason it seems like a lot of guitarists as they get older will switch over more to chords. And I know there's a lot more you can do with chords, especially when you get into the mathematics and the jazz, the whole thing. But
Yeah,
man, you're right. When you get a good riff, something you can sing along to, those are the
yeah,
perfect ones.
yeah. And there's a certain kind of there, there's also space within the riff. It's not like you think of like great AC/DC riffs.
Hmm.
There's air in them. You know, it's not just like a driving riff, and there's something about the I don't know, like you get inside it, like you get inside that riff. And this is one too, like Pat, like it's like boom, boom, and then there's like a little air, and then it's like back, and it's if you watch him play it, it's like it's also the strumming pattern is cool because he's hitting the chord from the bottom up, and it's just a slightly different
Hmm.
chord that way. It's just to me it works. So
Yeah.
it's cool when it does.
Well, and I should do the compliments to what you're also doing there with the lyrics too, because you've got what every songwriter, I think a lot of songwriters at least want, and it's that turn of phrase. Like the old country singers were so good at that.
Yeah,
Nights are harder these days. I mean, that's
right,
the flip right there.
right.
And I don't know, is that something you actually seek out when you're looking for lyrics or something like this, or like everything else, is that just something that kind of comes when it comes?
Comes when it comes. I recognize it when it does. Like Hard Day's Night, obviously, is the memory for me. It's like, oh, kind of short circuits you a little bit, in a
Right.
good way. And I think that's what a good riff / lyrical riff does. It's just like turn something upside down. And I don't know when that phrase came to me, but I recognized immediately that I could write a song around
Mhm.
that idea. You know.
Does it, at least the way I'm hearing it, I'm asking this question, does it sort of pick up where we left off with Lay It on the Tracks?
Yeah, in a way, it's written around that same time. But whereas laying on the tracks, I kind of put it out there as a political song, but it's also a personal song. I mean, if you
Mhm.
look at the lyrics, it's like, you know, the singer's trying to take responsibility for some of this stuff. It's not just like, oh, there's that bad guy there. It's also like the part of me that needed love that put me in certain places and made me do certain things that weren't kind. Um, the part of me that turned away. It's not the part about what's out there. It's the part inside me. The part of me that turned away, I had to turn around.
Yeah.
Because your pain is my suffering. It's like I can't look away. If I look away, I'm guilty. So to me, yeah, I kind of pinned it out there as a protest song because, of course, it name checked the president, but in a way, but to me, it was never just like, oh, bad guy there. It was also like, hey, not great guy here.
Mhm.
And Nights Are Harder. It kind of tells a story about a friend who kills himself, and then it's about the singer who's being visited by people that he's wronged, and then it's just like the chorus would be just like generally nights are harder these days, I think, for everybody. And that's the way it kind of felt at the time. But again, it's like trying to, in the song, reach out in some universal way. Nights are harder for all of us these days, but also take some responsibility and also have some empathy for someone who may have you know checked out permanently because of these kinds of feelings.
Yeah. I mean, all the best songs right there, the ones that speak on, those multi levels. I mean, of course, how I was hearing it, was not exactly how you were writing it. And
Hmm. Hmm.
I think you were saying that in the press sheet or the bio or something about when you said, these aren't about me, these are about you in that way. And I think there was a handful of the songs on here I was able to really apply.
I
Uh,
try.
yeah.
That's like my. I'm not like trying to write breadcrumb songs that are going to lead you to some kind of confession or some kind of a celebrity real life event or whatever. I'm really really not interested in that kind of a song. Um, my enterprise is always like, all right, I'm feeling these things. I'm not the only one, but maybe if I can phrase them in a certain memorable way, uh, maybe it can release something. Maybe I can have a bridge. Maybe we can get people to sing along because it means something,
Hmm.
to them.
Hmm.
And if I get too specific, that's not going to happen because you know I do love the song David Duchovny, "Why Don't You Love Me" by Bree Sharp, but I think it's got a limited reach. So it's like that. It's like I don't want to limit it. I want it to expand out.
Yeah. To me, one of the best examples on this subject that I always think of is the U2 song Pride.
Mm,
Here you have one of the most universal choruses of all time, Pride in the Name of Love. And
yeah,
then when you get to the verses, I mean, talk about though getting specific, Monday morning, April 4, I mean, he's right down to the date and the spot and everything. And I know we're talking about, historical context
yeah,
here and that song and everything, but to kind of be able to play around with that, to be able to do something that is very specific and personal to you, but still have that spot, like that's a really hard trick to pull off as a songwriter.
yeah. I mean that's a great example. That's such a great song, and what he's doing there is exactly what you say in the verses, but in the chorus, you really get the feeling he's singing about himself.
Mhm.
It's about one man. The verses are all about like universal love for other for mankind and people that have sacrificed and been sacrificed because of love like that. Agape, I guess. Like the love, not sexual love, not possessive love. And then, but somehow in the choruses, that kind of comes in. It's like one man, it's one man's love there, one man, and that's a neat trick. That's hard to do. I was thinking about. I think when we were talking about laying on the track, so I was always thinking about other protest songs, like For What It's Worth. That song, which is also very specific. I mean, he's talking about something that happened in L.A. You're carrying signs over there, whatever. You don't need to know because the chorus is it just breaks out of those specifics somehow, and that's why that song is in every movie you ever see. It's like somehow they were able, or Ohio. To me,
I was thinking about Ohio when you were saying that. Yeah.
To me, Ohio. I think the trick in Ohio is the riff. I mean, it's just
Absolutely.
And that's Neil Young again. So that's just like I think they could have put any words on that, and that would have worked. But the fact that it is a protest song, so specifically about one day, one incident, and yet it's able to branch out. It's just a magic trick. Yeah.
While we're giving praise to Neil Young, for the quick second here, at the end of Cinnamon Girl, he throws in that extra riff. For my entire life that I've known that song, I've been like low key upset that he wasted that riff, because that's such a cool little throwaway thing he's doing. That I was like, you could have done a whole song off of that one, man.
Yeah, I feel that way about Paul McCartney all the time.
Yeah,
like he has like 5 songs in one song.
Right.
Sometimes it's almost like he overburdens the song with. He's such a melodic genius that he doesn't know how good it all is and that it's worthy of a whole song. But like, what's that song? We're So Sorry, Uncle Albert. It's got 3 different sing-along melodies in it, and each one of those is a song. And somehow the song doesn't work as well because it's too good. There's too many good things in it. And I understand your feelings about that riff. I wonder what Neil Young would say about that. I've also felt that, Don't Fear the Reaper is one of my favorite. It's not really a riff. It's more like a picking riff,
Sure, right.
But the bridge, I always hated the bridge, where it goes, and it's just because it's so melodic and haunting. And then it just smacks you in the face for like 8 bars. And I go back and forth between like loving it because it's like it lulls you into this dream and then it smacks you right out of it, or just like, oh, why that's a different song.
There's the 90s horror film Scream. It was Scream 1 or Scream 2, I don't remember, but there's an acoustic version that somebody did. It's just a Gus. I don't know who it was. I've never seen that artist again, but Gus did an acoustic version. There's no bridge, and it's slowed down. It's just acoustic. It's such a good version of that song. If you're a
right, I mean, it's Well, I mean, then there's the SNL skit that
right.
more cowbell. I love the cowbell. In fact, I say cowbell sometimes. I say I need a cowbell in the song. I'm not sure they listen to me. I know they put it on Last First Time. There's a cowbell in that, but I love a good cowbell song. In Mind of Winter, I was like, I want to separate. There's like a verse and there's like 2 pre-choruses. It's a strange little song. So the verse is pretty much just drums and me. And then there's the first pre-chorus where another instrument accompanies me. And then there's the second pre-chorus that originally was just like the first pre-chorus. And I was like, we gotta like differentiate. Let's just put the hand claps in there. So we just added some hand claps, and I was like, okay, now I'm satisfied.
Yeah. Gets that head bob going. I know what you're talking about in that song. And let me say, bringing that attention back to the Gesturland here. So I think my favorite song on here is Everything Is Noise. To the point where I've now played that in the house, I don't know, 2 dozen times or something. My wife walked in. She goes, what is that? It's one of those moments, the sound from another room. What is that song? It's David Duchovny's new song. It's Everything Is Noise on the record. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about putting in rotation here on FPK in Louisville. Like that's going in.
Nice.
Like it had a little bit. We were trying to figure it out. I was like, what does it remind you of? Because there's something there. A little bit of Belle and Sebastian, a little bit of the National. She said that in there. I don't know what's going on, but you've made, as far as really somewhat simple pop songs go, like this. That's a perfect example right there.
Yeah, that was Keenan O'Mara in the band. That was brought. We wrote that one, and he kind of that's the only song where I kind of laid off the lyrics, and he wanted me to like change the lyrics or like make them whatever more something, and I was like, no, I wanna like sing it this way, and that song, I love the sentiment of it. It's kind of like, to unpack it, it's like it's fucking like everything's noise. Like, give me what you got, and then there's also kind of a beautiful resignation in it, which is like, I'm here. Like I'll withstand it. It's not I'm quitting. And then Keenan has this wonderful high voice. I mean, he's got an amazing voice, and it's really high, and it's not a falsetto. And he did that thing at the end with like those kind of choral circling oohs, and I was like, let's just have like 3 minutes of that. They're like, no. I wanted to start the song with that because the start of that song was always a puzzle to figure out, because it starts with it's singing. It's like there's no intro. It's just, I was breaking through. That's and I think Pat McCusker put like a little synthesizer pad on the front of it, and I was like, that feels cheap. It's like, in a way, it's like sometimes when you do that, if a song starts hard, you want to give the listener just like a little heads up that a song's about to start, rather than bang,
right,
here's the song. And so we were trying to figure out how do we start this song that's not like, holy shit, a song just started, so I think we just have we have this one like half a beat before it's like, boom, I was breaking through this, it's like, and I just love the way it starts that way, because there's almost no warning.
Right.
I forget, it was, when we did Stranger in the Sacred Heart, it starts with Pat, like this little pick riff that goes da 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 da, and it's high, and I was like, oh man, I jump every time that song starts, because there's no warning. It's just like, ding, it's on me. So I was like, can we prepare the listener? So I think we have the sticks. We're just like 1, 2, 3, 4,
just enough to get in there.
Yeah. So this was another one like that. It was like, I don't want people to have a heart attack, like all of a sudden. But yeah, I love that song too, and I look forward to writing more with Keenan. Because it's definitely a different sensibility.
Yeah,
from,
like I said, it's just a great little pop song in that way. And I know we're running out of time here. Two things. Are you planning on touring this? I'm guessing that's coming up as well.
Hope so. Don't have anything specific, because the world is still figuring it out. And I'd love to be out there right now, but obviously no. But yeah, that's the plan. And the plan would be, we really haven't done a full American tour. Nothing crazy like months long kind of a thing, but would love to play more in America. We played East Coast, West Coast, but I love to play everything. And then we've played Europe a couple times, and I'd like to go back there. But I really look forward to, some of these songs I think are going to be just really fun to play live, like Nights Are Harder, like Laying on the Tracks, just just like wall noise type songs that are kind of fun to do when you do them live.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how you'd fit a full 2-month, 3-month tour into the schedule that you've had for yourself lately. You know, I'll quickly point out, I know the Reservoir is out, the Bubble is on the way with Apatow. You've got Truly Like Lightning, I guess is eventually going to hit
Hope
at
so.
some point.
We haven't started, we don't have the green light yet to shoot. We're still in the development stage, but I'm optimistic, and my heart is really set on that. I really want to make that show. So I'll be sorely disappointed if I can't. I feel like I'll be able to. We'll know pretty soon, and that would then dictate, my touring schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in it for all, and hearing how all of these cross over in some way, I'm always interested when any artist puts together this many different projects. And starting looking for like, ooh, is the book part of the album? Is the album part of the show? Do you find those crossover moments?
Well, Chris Carter was kind enough to have a cover done of Unsaid Undone, which is from the Hell or High Water album, and he put that on the X-Files. He had like a punk version of that on the X-Files. And I understood why it would be weird to have a voice that sounded like Mulder's singing on the soundtrack of the X-Files. So yeah, that would have been too meta for me anyway. But I did an episode of my friend Amanda Peet's show. It's coming on Netflix. It's called The Chair, and I think they're going to use Mind of Winter in that, which is cool, really cool. And then I've always kind of fantasized about like placements in movies and stuff like that I wouldn't be in, that it would just be like a musical placement. But I do feel like if one layers too much of oneself, fuck you. It's like there are plenty of great songs that I could use on a Truly Like Lightning series without using my own.
Yeah, do whatever you want, man. It's your life. It's your thing.
No, you're right. It is. To quote song on the album, it's just playing at the same dream, right? None of this is real. It's just some dream we're all having, right? So why not?
Yeah, that's a great sentiment to wrap it up on right there too.
Yeah.
David, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Congrats on Gesturland. I'm so much enjoying what you're doing.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you around. Take care.
Take care. Bye.